Hey guys, welcome to the Reparenting Daily podcast, your daily guide for inner child healing. This podcast helps you establish a consistent reparenting routine and is divided into 3 sections. The first is a daily reading, the second is a discussion of that reading followed by suggested journal prompts, and the last section is a peaceful meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us. I'm so glad that you're here as we continue on this journey of self-expansion and growth. If this is your first time, welcome. Now, before we dive in, I have a few quick reminders. Please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Your support here helps us spread the word, allowing us to continue to grow this community. Next, I'd like to introduce our Patreon group, where we have 3 weekly meetings. On Sundays, we have a meditation meeting. On Tuesdays, we have book club meeting. And on Thursdays, we have open topic discussions. These meetings take place at 6 p.m. CEST, so Amsterdam, Paris time. For my next announcement, I'd also like to introduce the Reparenting Daily journal, which you can find on Amazon. This journal follows along with the podcast, so each weekly and monthly themes are reflected in the journal. It provides space for you to keep your notes with plenty of extra resources on each topic that we discuss. It's an excellent tool, and if you purchase it, you can join our weekly meetings for free. Just send me an email and we'll get you linked in. For the last announcement, I'd like to introduce one of my most meaningful creative projects, a 3-volume series entitled Fairy Tales for Reparenting. Now, you might be wondering, why fairy tales? Aren't those just for kids? But through my personal healing journey and in studying the work of Carl Jung, Marie-Louise von Franz, and other spiritual and psychological traditions, I've come to see fairy tales as powerful symbolic maps for transformation. They carry deep, timeless wisdom, especially for those of us doing the hard work of reparenting ourselves. The series follows the structure of the hero's journey. Volume 1 explores the wounded child, stories of loss, betrayal, and innocence. Volume 3 is about the trials of endurance, cunning, and self-discovery. And Volume 3 is the return, stories of transformation, power, and wholeness. Each story is followed by journal prompts and space to reflect on how each story connects to your own inner healing journey. These are not just tales, they're tools. They're an invitation to connect with the part of you that still believes in magic and possibility and healing. You'll find both familiar classic and lesser-known stories from cultures around the world, offering you fresh insights and inspiration on your path. All 3 volumes are now available on Amazon. Your support means so much to me, not just for this project, but for the larger mission of helping myself and others reconnect inwardly. Reparenting is like nurturing a bonsai tree. It's not fast, it's not flashy, but with care, patience, and consistency, it will transform you. Thanks so much for being here and for supporting this work, and also for committing on your personal journey of self-expansion. Now, without further ado, let's dive into today's practice. Today's reading is a blog article entitled, "The Books. These books taught me to set healthy boundaries." I'm reading this because this article shares additional resources as we come to a close for this month, in July. Just as a reminder, we're in July, the last day of the month, and the theme has been establishing boundaries and assertiveness. We're in week 4, which is July 22nd until the 31st. It's the last day of the month. As we come to the close of this month about boundaries and assertiveness, I thought to leave you with this article that gives you some other resources. This article is written by Anangasha Alamayan. You can find the link in the show notes. I will not read the entire article, I will just read a portion of it, and then I encourage you to check out the link in the show notes. Being in control of your life is a privilege. I wrote this line in my journal while sitting in a cafe by myself in a foreign country. I was crying uncontrollably, though the tourist in the cafe stared at me like I was crazy, but I couldn't stop sobbing. I'd been having the worst day, only because I could not say no to my client. They expected me to be working during vacation. Even though I'd mentioned I'd be mostly away, I still had some deadlines to meet. The toll and fear of missing out on the beautiful places and experience during my vacation got to me. That's when I rushed into the cafe, took out my journal, and set some intentions. A wave of mixed emotions overwhelmed me and I ended up crying. But I also learned I needed to draw better boundaries with myself, my work, and with the people who have expectations from me in a personal and professional sense. My quest for setting boundaries led me to read a few books. And of all that I've read and researched, these 3 books stood out. Number 1, Boundaries: When to Say Yes, How to Say No to Take Control of Your Life, by Harry Cloud and John Townsend. Have you ever felt that talking with some people drains your energy, but you still can't say no to them? Or do you keep hanging out with a group of friends who always insult you through jokes, but you can't speak up? If yes, then it's time to make some boundaries. Boundaries by Henry Cloud and Townsend is an actionable guide to help you establish boundaries, protect your emotional well-being, and take control of your life. Boundaries are invisible lines between you and others that define who you are and what's acceptable to you. The next book, Boundaries: Set Boundaries, Find Peace, by Netra Glover Tawwab. Setting boundaries might be easy, but maintaining them is a real struggle. Most people don't know how to set their boundaries and take control of their lives. Set Boundaries, Find Peace, by Netra Glover Tawwab provides practical strategies for setting and maintaining boundaries in various aspects of your life. By the end of this book, you'll have the tools you'll need to prioritize self-care and clear the roadmap on how to set boundaries. Setting boundaries is easy if you do it the right way, but sometimes we don't recognize when our boundaries are being violated. I struggled with the same and kept saying yes even after getting an uneasy feeling. This book reinforces that if anything makes you feel uneasy, you have the right to say no, even if it doesn't make sense to others. My key learning from the book is that clear and assertive communication is important for effective boundary setting. Set Boundaries, Find Peace also has practical exercises to express boundaries in different situations. By establishing healthy boundaries, I feel more peaceful and less drained out. I've noticed positive changes in my relationships as well as my overall well-being. The next book is Boundaries: Where You End and I Begin, How to Recognize and Set Boundaries, by Anne Catherine. Our boundaries are often crossed subtly by friends, colleagues, and family members. This affects us deeply, but we choose to remain silent. This is because we don't know the right way to deal with it, or don't even realize the insult. We tend to hold resentment and disconnect from others. Boundaries: Where You End and Where I Begin, by Catherine, is an eye-opening book for those who feel suffocated in their relationships but can't stand up for themselves. It teaches you how to cut off toxicity from your life when your boundaries are constantly violated. This book compares boundaries with the lines on the tennis court when others end and you begin. Boundaries are not always well, but the guidelines on how others should treat you. Before setting boundaries, start by listing what behaviors and people trigger you, and identify any type of physical, emotional, or mental violations. Pay attention when you feel uncomfortable or resentful. Be assertive and communicate your needs. Thank you, and that's the reading for today. As we reflect on the reading today, with these 3 suggestions for new books on how to expand our experience and skill with setting boundaries and maintaining them, I would like to encourage you to take a look at these books, each of them in the article, and see perhaps which one is most fitting for where you are in your current journey of learning to set boundaries and establish control over your life. As we go on to the journal prompts today, number 1, in which ways do you feel that you have developed a strong capacity to set boundaries? Are there certain areas where you're easily able to set boundaries? And are there any areas in your life where you feel less able to set boundaries? Compare and contrast these 2 and try to understand the difference. Think about if you can carry some of the skills and momentum from the areas where you are able to set boundaries over to the areas where you struggle. Number 2, are there certain types of people that you have more difficulty setting boundaries with? For example, family, friends, or your partners, perhaps your children. Or do you find setting boundaries universally challenging? And the last question, which boundary have you been holding on for way too long, but you know is already so important to you? Take some time to reflect on this and how you can begin to address this boundary within the next weeks. That's it for today. As always, thanks for being here. Take care of yourself, and please do be well. Welcome back. Welcome back. Now, this is the third and final section of the daily podcast. This is your silent meditation. Please go ahead and find a space where you can be comfortable and undisturbed, where you can relax and spend some time with yourself for this 10-minute silent meditation. You can choose to be sitting, standing, lying down, or in whatever position makes you comfortable today. Take a moment to simply be with yourself. Focus on your breath and gently connect with each part of your body. If thoughts arise, don't let them overwhelm you. Just observe them without attachment. Imagine them as leaves drifting down atop a river, passing by without needing your engagement. Stay present, grounded, and open to this moment, no matter what time you are listening and practicing this meditation. Namaste.